Hi, how's it going?
Baruch Hashem. How you doing, Shawn?
I'm very, very well. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem. Great, great. And thank you so much for taking your time. Oh, look at your background.
There we go.
Is that a winter background or what?
It's a winter background. I miss the winter.
Don't say that, man. Don't say that.
All right, there we go. Outer space.
Okay.
Here.
You're psychedelic now. You're all over the place.
There we go. We'll leave it at that. Call it a day.
Hazak. How you doing, Shawn?
I'm well. How are you?
Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem. First of all, I want to thank you so much for agreeing to be on this up close and personal segment. I have to tell you, I started this because I wanted people to get to know our congregants and get to know especially those, the people that, unfortunately we don't see each other quite often, in the sense that you might come to the synagogue at one point and some other people come at another point and they crisscross each other. Or sometimes we just seem to be too busy and then right after leave the synagogue and not sit down and talk to some people. So here, this is a way of connecting, right? And
absolutely.
So far we've had a very nice, contingency of people that we talked to. And I'm so happy that you agreed. Here we are. So let me ask you my first question. And this is a question that I'm going to learn. Before I get to your position at the synagogue, a VP position in the synagogue, I'd like to know, when people look and say, who is Shawn Korin, the person? It's a big question, but work-wise, family-wise, passions, interests, and all that kind of stuff, I'm very intrigued because I want to know too.
Awesome. Well,
yeah.
I'd like to think that people would say that I'm fun-loving, I'm approachable, and that they feel comfortable talking to me. So for me, that's really important. Another thing that I think would define me as a human is I'm always in pursuit of change. And when I say change, I mean augmenting, making myself into a better person as best as possible. And I try as best as possible also to bring that change, bring that, I guess, bettering the community, the world, whether it be through work or through interpersonal relationships, to everybody that I meet. So it's kind of like when you have an iPhone or an Android and you see that little update button, I always want the best, the brightest, the latest features to be downloaded into my brain somehow.
That's a great way of putting it. Yeah, good.
Yeah, and I'd like to think that I bring that type of, I guess, positivity and approach to life to all of my relationships, whether that be through to family, to friends, to fellow synagogue associates, and even in a work environment. I mean, it's my job. My job is to implement change and to bring better systems, better processes to everybody that I meet. So although it's not always easy because people don't always like change, people really do crave it in a way. So in a period of uncertainty, when we have so much change that's really imposed on us, it's been challenging, but at the same time, extremely rewarding. Because at the end of the day, let me ask you, Cantor, do you think that people like change?
It's you know what, I'm listening to you and I'm saying to myself, you probably are talking for so many people out there that are thinking the same way, but you're expressing it very beautifully. I do agree that a lot of people are afraid of change, but a lot of people are looking for change, because if they see somewhere where they're going, even synagogue, for example, because we're both involved in synagogue, if it's stagnating and if it's very bland, then people stop coming and they don't see any interest in coming. But if you initialize some different programming, get closer to the clergy and to the members of the congregation, you feel such a close-knit relationship because you changed your ways, you created that environment, and that's how people come in. So I agree with you. While you're talking about that, what kind of work do you do exactly?
So I'm a continuous improvement manager at Del Mar International. So
Wow.
at Delmar, we have all kinds of different services. We do pretty much everything in the freight forwarding and logistics world. So we do
Wow.
everything from air, ocean, ground transportation, customs brokerage. Basically, if you're a company and you want to move something from somewhere in the world to somewhere else in the world, I mean, obviously, we're not going to take care of mom and dad's piano to move, let's say, from Shanghai to Montreal. But if you want to move regular amounts of cargo as an enterprise, it's something that we can help out with. We have all kinds of solutions, multimodal ground transportation.
Oh, sorry, Shawn. I'm just listening. I missed you. I missed you for a couple of seconds. The audio, your audio.
Did I cut
Oh,
out?
yeah, you just cut out
Okay.
just very
Can you hear
shortly,
me
very
again?
shortly. You were saying
Okay,
that the
perfect.
transportation and all that, you're not going to take your
Yeah.
grandma's piano or your mother's piano, okay?
That's it. So you don't want to, exactly. You don't want to take your grandmother's. We work with we work with enterprise essentially. So
Yeah.
B2C, B2B. And at the end of the day, any type of solution that
Yeah.
anybody requires, whether it
Yeah.
be a full container, half a container, air, ocean, ground. We offer fulfillment solutions through our warehouse and e-com
Amazing.
solutions as well. Yeah.
Wow.
So one thing we pride ourselves on, and this is
Yeah.
where I guess me and our team gets involved, is by offering the greatest and best and cutting edge technological solutions. And when you think of logistics, it's not exactly the sexiest industry, but it's, I believe, second in terms of amount spent only to the financial industry. So there's a huge amount of investment in our industry, and technology is really at its infancy.
Yeah.
So if you think of, let's say, the financial world, the Bloomberg terminal, which basically shows you your stocks on a ticker in real time.
Yeah.
I mean, that existed, I think, in the 1970s. We still don't have the equivalent of that in the logistics space, at least not yet.
No kidding. No kidding. So you've been affected by COVID then, because I'm sure that this whole transportation and moving things around at this point in time was a bit difficult.
Yeah, so in terms of companies, obviously there have been slight differences to their demand, and although we do see things really going back to normal. The
Yeah.
real interesting thing, though, was our transition as a company to the work from home environment. So really, day one, I remember it was over the weekend of Saturday the 14th, Sunday the 15th, and all of a sudden that Monday morning, everybody throughout our
Stay
company
home.
globally, I believe, we had to stay home. Essentially,
Wow.
I know in some of our offices in China, they were already staying home, but throughout North America, yeah, there was a work from home, and it was deployed right off the bat. And the interesting thing is that we, as a company, barely missed a beat because of the technologies that we had implemented in the previous couple of months.
Correct.
So cloud solutions, video conferencing, I mean, it was all things that all of our employees were very comfortable with. So we got, I would say it's a combination of, I guess, foresight, in that we didn't want our employees to be storing information on their computers locally in case of a natural disaster or something.
Absolutely.
But definitely luck played a role in it, because we got very lucky that we had transitioned our services over to some major cloud-based technologies, and that
It's
was really
amazing.
great.
It's amazing to see that people adapt, and this is where I'm going to come in now and touch closer to home for both of us. We adapted. As you can see, you are, first of all, very proud to say that you are one of the VPs, right? The co-VP or something you want to call it. The first VP.
Exactly.
We are, I think, coming in from, I'm fairly new. I'm back for a long hiatus, and seeing young people like you on a VP chair is, for me, the epitome of change. This is what change is all about. Young people, young minds, young thinking. So we had to adapt because of the COVID. We had to get on like you did, get on the Zoom, get on the internet, get on the Facebook, Instagram, all that kind of stuff. And you were very instrumental in pushing that at, with the executive and with the board here at the synagogue of Spanish and Portuguese. And you saw that change, and you saw the evolution of it until now, and we're continuing to do it, even if we're coming back to synagogue. How do you see, it's a tough question, but how do you see the synagogues around the world getting over that hump? Like of what happened for 3-4 months. I mean, we were down in the dumps really, and now we're starting again. People are still afraid to come to synagogue, and how long is it going to take, and how is it going to impact the synagogue?
Yeah, absolutely. So that was a very loaded question, but
Yeah,
I guess I'll start.
I thought of the questions as I was saying. Well, boy, there's so many questions here.
It's all good. I'll start with the major thing. Yes, obviously, COVID has had a significant effect on synagogue attendance. I mean, our synagogue was closed for a lengthy period of time. Now we're gradually reopening on a reservation-based system. All events have been essentially canceled. I mean, a good friend of mine just got married, and we attended luckily over Zoom, which was amazing, and it was a lot of fun. But it really, for the synagogue, there are two factors. The first, I think, is the religious or emotional factor, and the second is the financial element, because at the end of the day, the synagogue is a business, and it needs money to continue operating.
100%.
So luckily, our clergy have been very, very good, and kudos to you. Thank you very much, and thank you to all of those listening who have contributed, because essentially it really is a matter of survival.
Absolutely.
So thank you very, very much for your contributions.
It's a team effort. We're all in it together, right?
Yeah. But
so we've raised some good money. Yeah.
Yes, some very, very good money.
We want more, so we can do more. We want to activate. We want to really get together and do more. So you're continuing to say. Sorry.
Yeah, so it's a very challenging time financially for the synagogue, but barring that, it's also a difficult time spiritually for the synagogue. Yes. I mean, look, we are an Orthodox synagogue, which means that we can't necessarily leverage the same technologies, especially on Shabbat and the high holidays, that other synagogues can. That being said, at the same time, there's also been, I guess, a decline in interest in religion throughout, I guess, the younger generation. And it's unfortunate, but it's also a reality. Something that, the younger generation really does crave, that connection, that spirituality. I mean, yoga classes are taking off, meditation is taking off, but synagogues are, I mean, I find it that the younger generation oftentimes has difficulty identifying with specific sects of religion, and is sometimes maybe
even
just
organized
lazy.
religion in general, right? Yeah,
and maybe it's just a matter of not wanting to come to synagogue early in the morning on a Saturday. I mean, I'm guilty of it as well. So those things combined make for a really difficult environment for our synagogue, because on one hand, you and the rabbi have done a very good job in bringing about virtual classes, virtual events. I mean, the cooking classes,
it's popular stuff.
It really is. And really kudos to you, because it's not an easy task to adapt to a brand new environment, to a completely changed world. But you've done so, and you've done so really well. I think that bringing it back to, I guess, how are we going to serve our members moving forward? I think it's difficult, because we are not able to have high holiday services over Zoom. We're not able to have Shabbat services over Zoom. I mean, maybe it's possible that the higher rabbis in Jerusalem maybe will make exceptions, just because people do crave that spirituality. Yeah. But until such time that happens, if it does happen, I think we're going to have to adapt, and maybe that means multiple services and disseminating it a day earlier or something like that.
Yes.
But we do have to adapt, and we also have to adapt to the changing reality and the change of the generation, with the younger generation not really being as interested in organized religion. So maybe offering meditation classes or yoga classes or something along those lines. I don't know. Maybe some sort of
Uh,
connection needs to be changed in a way.
well, 100%. I mean, you hit it on the on the head, because there's so many things that we could do, and we are doing, and we're planning to do. This COVID put a little bit of a wrench into this planning, but I have to tell you that it gave us some new momentum, and the new momentum is the drive to, start at the starting line, like running right away. The minute people are starting to get out of their houses and get out in to the world, we want to be there and talk to them and reach out to them and make sure that they know that we're here for them. Your father, Jack, a great man, president in this synagogue, a renowned philanthropist and very great human being. Are you following in his footsteps? I mean, as a great person you are, but let's talk about sides of the presidency.
So I don't know what the future holds for me.
Exactly.
But I could tell you one thing. I definitely have not had enough experience, both in life and with the synagogue and all that it entails,
Correct,
to allow any type of entertainment of that position. I'm not there yet, and I'd be doing
but you're
the
being
synagogue a
groomed. You know
disservice.
that. You're being groomed. You know that. You're being groomed by so many people saying, "Well, these are the young people that we want." So young people like you and Samara, and so these are people that we're looking up to you in a sense, because just our conversation today is so deeply thought of, even though we're thinking on the same wavelength. And I think there's a lot of people out there, young people out there, and not so young people who, hey, you know what? I don't mind the change. I want to see change. I want to see new things happening and all that. And do we have to change with time and all that? So maybe this is something that you can bring in at the table, being the president. And I know that, it's like, it reminds me of JFK Jr., when he was asked, are you going to become a president? And he goes, only time will tell. It's only time will tell, because you know what? I think the more you're here, the more we work together, and the more there's a lot of people who are looking up to our synagogues, our institutions, for comfort, for consolation, and for spirituality, like you said. And I think we
Yes,
have
absolutely.
to make sure that we have it when they come, right?
I can
Yeah,
only say this,
yeah,
that I will help out and do whatever I can for my synagogue in any way that I can.
wow,
Not because I want to have an esteemed position, not at all. It's more a matter of me wanting to make the synagogue the best synagogue I possibly can, and to make our members love the synagogue as much as they possibly can. But in terms of being president, no, unfortunately, right now, I don't have the time necessary to
it
devote to
is
the
time
synagogue that'll
consuming.
allow me to serve
Yeah,
as best as I can.
it's very time consuming. You're absolutely right. But you know what? We'll keep it on the back burner for now, right? How about that, Shawn?
We'll see what happens in 10, 15 years. How about that? We'll
Sorry to
touch
put you on
base.
the spot like that.
It's all right. We'll touch
um,
base in 2035.
okay, that's way too long. Your dear wife,
Yes, Lisa.
what does she do?
My wife?
She's
What does
does
she
she?
do?
I mean,
My wife,
I know what does she do, but I mean, like, what kind of work does she do?
so my wife is
besides
both, my
besides
wife is
taking care
both,
of you.
besides taking it, she is amazing in all ways possible.
That's so
So
nice.
what does my wife do? She excels and continuously becomes more and more amazing with every day that passes. Um, so
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
we have to send her this video link.
Wow, man, this might be big trouble for other people. They have
But
to make sure that they say something like that. Yeah.
yeah, my wife never ceases to amaze me, actually. So she is a civil law notary, a common law lawyer. She's currently working as legal counsel for the Department of Justice of Canada.
Oh, wow.
And she's also pursuing a master's of science in sustainable urban development at the University of Oxford. So she is
Wow.
incredible in
I
every
can
way
hear
possible.
that. I can hear that. That's amazing. Lots to be proud of. Lots to be
Yes,
proud of.
she is possibly the most driven and dedicated and devoted person I've ever met.
Oh my God, that's so beautiful. Anyways, this is like a great testimonial, my brother. You hit it right on the nail there. I'm telling you. I just I want to thank you. You know what? I have a feeling that if, once this COVID thing settles down, yourself and your wife will come over to our house and have some Moroccan supper, and we'll have a little cognac, a little, something to drink. Maybe we can sit in the balcony and talk, because there's a lot. Bezat Hashem. There's a lot to talk about. You're a source of knowledge that I really want to tap in, and then a lot of people will. I want to thank you. I want to thank you for your time and your dedication to this congregation, to your family, to your friends, and I hope that everything calms down and we're going to be together celebrating good times here.
Bezrat Hashem, and hopefully that
Bezrat
happens sooner rather than later. And
Amen.
I'd like to pass a message to everybody listening. Please stay safe, stay dedicated, listen into as many classes, as many things as you can, because this is, although a very unfortunate and very sad situation for many people, it also forces us to kind of take a step back, calm down a little bit, get a tiny little bit away from everything that we've been doing, kind of on autopilot many times.
Correct.
And just take a period to kind of reassess, see where we are, see where we want to go in the future, and see how we want to get there. And the synagogue can serve as a place that offers a plethora of knowledge and so many great activities and events, virtually or in person.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Shawn. God bless you,
my pleasure,
friend.
Kenter. Thank you.
God
Thank you very much.
I think we're going to have interview number 2, I feel sometimes. Take care, my friend.
You.
God bless
you. You too. And all the best.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.